slope. Slope is what we refer to, or when we refer to the steepness of a line, that's its slope. The slope between 2 points is the ratio of its vertical change to its horizontal change. Now the vertical change, that's going to be the change in y values, and the horizontal change is going to be your change in x values. We use m when we're talking about the slope. The slope is going to be vertical change divided by horizontal change. Now one way of this delta is a Greek letter. We sometimes use that to describe the change in. So vertical change is going to be the difference between our two y values that we use. Horizontal change is going to be the difference between the two x values. And if I've got two y values, the way I find their difference is just by subtracting. So if I have 2 points, x1, y1, and x2, y2, we're just going to find the difference between the two y values and the difference between the two x values. Now don't let the sub numerals scare you or confuse you. That just means that these are both y values. They both come at the second half of the coordinate, and the 2 tells us that this x and y goes together and that this x and y goes together. So what's the slope of the line going to be through the points -1, 3 and 1, 5? We can pick whichever way. If we want this one to be our first point, we can have this one to be the second point. It does not matter. Generally I'll look at it and do it in a way such that my subtraction is easy if possible, and I think I'd rather take a 5 minus a 3 in the numerator. So if this is my y2, this is my x2, I'll have 5 minus, what's my other y value? My y1 is the 3. And since I used the 5 as my first y value, I have to use its partner, the 1, as my first x value. And then we'll subtract off the other x value. Be real careful with negatives. This is 1 minus a -1. Alright, 5 minus 3 is 2. 1 minus -1, that's the same as 1 plus 1. So that's also 2. And so our slope is 1. Looking at the slope-intercept form of an equation. What we've seen in the past, maybe we've seen it written ax plus by equals c. That's called the standard form or the general form. Another form that we sometimes see these linear equations in two variables in is the slope-intercept form, and that is y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope. We already noticed that. And the y-intercept is at 0, b. Now some people call just one number the y-intercept. I avoid that. I think the y-intercept is a point, so it has to have an x and a y. Alright. To graph an equation using the slope and the y-intercept, first we're going to solve for y in order to get the equation into the slope-intercept form, and that'll also determine the slope and the y-intercept. Next, we'll plot the y-intercept. Then we'll use the slope to find a second point and draw a line through the 2 points. So let's look at y equals 2/3 x minus 3. I'm already in slope-intercept form. My slope is going to be 2/3, and my y-intercept is going to be at 0, -3. And if you ever forget that, just put a 0 in for x. This term goes away, and we just end up with y equals -3. So we'll go down here to y equals -3. There's our y-intercept. Now this slope of 2/3, remember this was our change in y divided by our change in x. So that means, or our rise over run. If I am at this point and I want to go to any other point on this line, all I've got to do is go up 2, because that's my change in y. I'm going to go up 2, and my run will be to go over 3. And that will give me another point on the line. I can do that as many times as I want. Up 2 over 3. That's the nice thing about linear equations, is they are the slope is constant, meaning you'll get the same value all the way across. Well, let's see if I put in, nope, I didn't put in a line, so I will have to do that freehand. And there's our equation, or our line. Alright, this one is not yet in slope-intercept. I can't just say the slope is 4, because that's not true. I need it to be y equals something before I can pick out the slope and the y-intercept. So what I'm going to do is subtract 4x from both sides to get it away from the y. That gives us 2y equals -4x minus 6. Now if you're thinking, why isn't it -6 minus 4x, you can write it that way, but I want it to be in mx plus b format, so I want my x term in the front. Alright, now I will go through and divide everything by 2, and we get y equals -2x minus 3. It looks like once again our y-intercept is at 0, -3, and our slope is -2. So I'll go over and I'll put in 0, -3. Now how do I do this slope? I don't have a top and bottom. Well, remember, any integer like -2 is also a rational number because it's just -2 over 1. So that means that for every -2 that we go up, well, -2 going up, that just means going down 2. For every 2 we go down, we're going to go right, because right is positive. We're going to go right 1. So down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. We could just do that as many times as we want. Now also notice though that -2 over 1, we can write that fraction as 2 over -1. So another way of getting to another point would be to go up 2 and left 1. Let's try that. Up 2, left 1. Up 2, left 1. That just finds points on the other side, to the left. Alright, now I'm going to try to draw a straight line. Alright, I'm giving up there. Alright, you have survived another module. Good luck on the homework, and let me know if you have any problems.